And we are back for another episode of the 6 Yard Line podcast. I'm Sean. Here's my co-host Noel. And week 27 in the books. You're not happy with the result. We'll get into that in a bit. But let's jump right into the games we're going to review this week. I think you said you wanted to start with the Leeds versus Villa.
Yeah, it's because the reason why I picked this game is because A, I had it on, and B, I thought, you know what, I looked at the schedule last week and thought, you know what, Villa's probably going to beat Leeds. At least that'll help because, obviously Forest against Liverpool this week. Arsenal have got, Spurs have got Arsenal, and then I think Palace had Brighton. So it was like one of those ones where, you know what, if we lost, it wouldn't be the end of the world because it looks like everybody else should probably lose around them. I was doing something on Saturday and I turned on, and sure enough, Leeds are 1-0 up, and Villa's playing terrible. Didn't look, I watched most of the first half. They looked disjointed. I think Leeds scored in like the 31st minute, and it was deserved. I think Leeds played really well in the first half, and Villa just never looked like they were going to get into it. And I think what you're seeing is with Villa, I saw some people commenting this week that they're on about Villa, their title charge. Villa's not in a title race. The problem is that their midfield's missing 3 or 4 players, and they brought in Douglas Luiz, who was obviously on loan from Juventus at Nottingham Forest for the most part, and he hasn't been fit all year. So I didn't think his addition was going to do an awful lot for Villa right now. And Villa's midfield is just really light. And, I was like, well, Villa will score. Villa will score. Villa will score. And it was getting 70 minutes, 75 minutes, 80 minutes, 85 minutes. I'm like, come on, Villa, just score a bloody goal. Sure enough, 88th minute, Tammy Abraham's back from his stint in Italy with Roma and scores the goal that ties it up. And I'm like, come on, go on and win it. Go on. Like I was like literally in my office cheering on Villa to score a goal. It would have been harsh on Leeds, to be fair. And, I thought Leeds were value for their money. And I think Leeds have been value for their money for the last 6 or 7 weeks. I know you messaged me and said, hey, Sunderland are in a bit of a free fall. But I think Leeds have gone the opposite way. They've stabilized and, they've grinded out a lot of really good results. And, Leeds are giving themselves a fighting chance of staying in this league. And as much as I don't want them to stay, well, I would actually like them to stay. I'd like West Ham to go, to be honest. But yeah, you can't rely on other people's results is the lesson of this episode. that's how I
Definitely.
feel.
And you know what, Leeds are definitely making it a lot more difficult for, teams like Forest, teams like Spurs that are trying to now have to try to keep pace with them just so that they stay out of the potential relegation zone. So it was a well-earned point for Leeds. I saw the highlights of this game, and if you look at Villa right now, they've got 2 wins in the last five, couple draws and a loss. You, you can almost say they definitely dropped off the form that they had going into the end of 2025. 2026, they started out decently, but now I think with injuries, lack of depth, you're seeing why they're getting the results they're getting. And as you said before, they're not in yes, they're doing extremely well. They're comfortably in a Champions League spot, but they're not in the title race. It is a two-team race. I think everybody, truly understands that the two teams that have the depth that can withstand an injury or two, that can still, get the results. And we're seeing it right now with team like Villa, that when you don't have the kind of deep pockets like the other teams, you will start to struggle and you will drop points. And like I said, good result for Leeds. And you and I, we were on our other show. We had a guest on who's a Leeds fan, and I know he was probably quite happy with the result. Would have probably preferred them to hold on for the win, but you know, he even said it that the fans were calling for
Farkas
a
head.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We said it. I think we said it on the show.
yeah,
I was 100%. I think he was going to go next because they had that spell where they lost to like 3 or 4 in a row, and they looked like they
yeah.
were in trouble in free fall, and they looked like they were going to be done. And he managed to weather the storm and ride it out. And I think sometimes that's the thing with sticking with your manager through the thick and the thin. And We don't always see that. We certainly don't see that at Forest. But at the end of the day, it's it's a good point for them. And you know what, Villa's a tough place to go and get a point. But like you said, Villa's 10 points off Arsenal now. I don't think they're in a title race. They should be. I think, to be honest with you, I think the Champions League race is going to be Villa, United, and Liverpool. I think Chelsea's issues are, well, self-inflicted. I think Chelsea's going to.
You never know with Chelsea. You never know what team is going to show up. Like the back-to-back draws, they were starting to look like they were back in form. But like I said, unfortunately, you just don't really know. And they were they made a coaching change, looked like it worked out, but all of a sudden they've kind of like stabilized. And again, when it comes to Chelsea, and if there's any Chelsea fans out there, please help me and please let us know what team do you expect week in, week out?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But I think when I look down there at Villa, I just think, they're a very consistent team. They're good. They're well coached. They're well things. I think as you said at a few minutes ago, like the bottom problem at the end of the year is those injuries that started to pile up, and I think that midfield is their core. And we lost McGinn. I think there's a couple others like I forget his name. Tillemans, thank you. There you go. There's just a few of those guys that you just can't replace those guys when they put that much work rate in, that much effort. They're not that easy to replace day in and day out. And I just felt that, they might drop a little bit. I think obviously they might get overtaken, but I think they're good. I think they'll be good enough to finish fifth. I don't think there's, barring more injuries, but I don't think the rest of them below will catch them, because I think teams like Chelsea, a bit of a mirage. United, we never know, but they look better under Carrick. But then I think this was. I think it's more about a credit to Leeds than it is to Villa, because I think no one really gave Leeds a chance. They came in, they had a lead for 88 minutes, for 50 odd minutes. You know what I mean? It wasn't until the 88th minute when they gave it up, and even that was, it was one of those goals. It's just a striker's goal, and I'll take the point for Leeds. But Leeds are, comfortably in the table now. Like, they're above Spurs. So 31 points, and Spurs are at 29. Yeah. So, they're pulling away. They're catching. They're only 3 behind Brighton. I think they're 4 behind Palace now. And then the aforementioned Sunderland, who we both fear might get pulled into this if they don't start arresting their form as well. So.
Yeah, the only issue is if you look who Leeds has next, they're playing City, right? So, they may drop points in a game like that.
Yeah, but if you look at their next bunch of fixtures, they've got City, Sunderland, they're at Norwich in the FA Cup, and then they've got Palace, Brentford, and United. So they actually have a pretty nice run for a few weeks. So.
Well, out of those games, there's a couple. Obviously the Sunderland game will be interesting. The Palace game, again, that's a winnable game with Palace's form. The Brentford, I would say, Brentford's playing a lot better, so I would say I would more give the edge to Brentford in that one, but you never know. So we'll see.
I think they could get. Comfortably, I think they could get a minimum of 5 points out of 3 games, out of the Leeds, Palace, and Brentford. I think they can get 5 points out of those games, which puts them in a really good spot, right? So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
all right, that's it for me. That's it for Noel. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, and of course, don't forget to give us a like. And we'll see you guys next week.
Later. Thanks for watching.